So on today for TFC Reviews, we have a Mercedes. We have a Mercedes GLC 300. Walking around front, I love this star grille with the giant Mercedes logo on the front and that nice Mercedes-Benz emblem. Walking around the side, we can tell this is actually an AMG light package based on the 20-inch rims. These rims really look great. That nice, blacked out multi-spoke rim. It's a 4MATIC, so it is all-wheel drive. Oh, Avis. Anyway, walking around to the side, I'm loving this, I believe they call it Starlight Blue metallic paint. I love it. It's stunning. Go ahead and flicker those lights again. This is going to be a fun one. Let's get into it. Go ahead and unlock the doors. Stepping into Mercedes GLC 300. Nice little welcome there on the screen from Mercedes-Benz. Love that startup screen. And really everything so far in this interior, especially this big chunky Mercedes logo covering up the airbag. So I had to do a first impressions video of this rental today from Avis. It is a Mercedes GLC 300, and I like it on this initial first impressions. It's not bad at all, except we'll get into all this, we'll get into that, you know how I feel about screens, but the interior, I always like a Mercedes interior. They really give a little bit of drama, still a little bit, sophistication, a little bit of understatedness, but it's no longer just that banker's car like from the 90s, even though 90s and 80s Mercedes are my favorite generation Mercedes. But this thing has some drama, especially being the GLC, which is, they're smaller. Or actually, it is their small SUV. And it's nice to see that they still style things. As you can see, on these just initial impressions, these air vents, are pretty cool. But my most favorite thing is the steering wheel. The steering wheels give me vintage Mercedes vibes from the 60s, 50s Mercedes with this big Mercedes logo in the middle. These nice 3 spokes coming off of it. It is nice. And even with the Burmester, sound system. Tomorrow, when I give a fuller review on it, we'll go ahead and see my, how I feel about it, if it's worth it. But just the looks, even just those speaker grates. It is actually a really, really nice place to be. However, on initial inspection, you can see a little bit there. Anything with piano black is going to have fingerprints all over it. It is just inevitable, but overall, for a basically small SUV, this is not an S-Class or a GLS. This is not even a GLE. This is a GLC. So this is their entry level, model that has some upgrades. I believe this panoramic sunroof, as you can see, goes all the way back. Outside, I had those upgraded AMG multi-spoke rims, but mostly for, again, just their standard little SUV, it is not a bad place to be. Not by any means whatsoever. It's not bad. I get it, and then even compared to that BMW we looked at, Mercedes really does decent interiors. I like them. I think there's still some you see these things on TikTok. There are some hard materials. All this piano black is going to get gross over time, but you have some nice leather wrapping ish or some faux. It's good enough material there on the dash. But let's go ahead and do a quick start, just from those initial impressions. So This is a 2023. That was interesting. So it's funny, they actually said like old Mercedes, they had this thing called it sounded like the old U-boats or something, this like terrible buzzer like in like a 80s or early 90s like Mercedes, like for if you left your key, you know, in ignition, it was like it sounded really horrible. Maybe that was a recreation of that. I don't know what the hell that was, but we'll go with it. But anyway, yeah, initial impressions. Again, it has screens everywhere, screens, hardly any type of buttons to like actually touch. As I mentioned, this is a 2023. They did do an interior and some slight exterior updates in 2023. Actually, it was manufactured in 2023. Going through that, how you can tell when your car is manufactured or when you're renting something, you know, good place to check just to, you know, make sure you're either getting scammed or, you know, what year vehicle you actually do drive. So insert that video there. But they ended up updating this whole center console, and what with this whole S-Classic-esque full screen setup, which it's okay. I think the old system was a little bit easier to use. It did take me a good 5 minutes to figure some things out. They went away with all normal type buttons, we'll call them. So instead of a volume knob, you know, everything's like a slider. So you like slide this thing, which after getting used to it, it's fine. But again, figuring it out, even like how to tune, you know, the radio, because you're used to having like a switch or a button or a knob or something. And it's, you know, this, even trying to get to the radio, that was like, you know, kind of a little bit of a learning curve, which, you know, any new car you get into is going to have a slight bit of a learning curve, but it did take a minute to try and figure that out. I will say, like, once you got used to it, it's not bad. However, this whole kind of cleaned up look here, it does take a minute to figure things out. Like this, I do like that they have like your dedicated climate controls there, but even to like navigate through like all the screens, they moved. There's no buttons here to like navigate, you know, through the different menus. You can go here to home and you can do it like, you know, through here, but there's no physical knob here anymore. They instead put it here on the steering wheel, which I guess that's safer. At the end of the day, you don't need a whole bunch of stuff here, I guess, to, you know, perform these functions here. But you always have to, I'll say that only the driver now can, you know, have that control. Whereas like before you had a passenger that could like, you know, adjust things for you there, which, you know, is good and bad. You have more control. You don't get the passenger to sit there and, you know, shut up and ride. But they can still, of course, like, you know, touch the big screen to get, you know, to other settings and change things for you so that you're not distracted from it. I won't get into all this today. We'll get into it tomorrow after we have it on the road for a bit, and I can give a more in-depth review about these dynamics. But again, I really like a Mercedes interior. I think they do a very great job. I've always liked their fonts, even like for their when they do have to put things on a screen. They look modern. They are crisp. It just looks good. Even if we go here, if you go to home, a cute little detail here, instead of like, you know, just like a dot or an arrow, they have like a little GLC icon there. What that does, what does that do? Oh, that's cute. Just for your navigation. But yeah, we'll get into all that tomorrow and through all like the sub menus and everything, and, you know, see if it's as complicated as that BMW was that we had the other week. But I have to say, like, I've always been a BMW fanboy. I had, you know, I had an old 540 and then a really fun 330 Ci with a stick shift, and always liked BMWs, but I always had a very near and dear place in my heart for like old Mercedes E-classes, the W124, I believe. Don't fully quote me on that. Oh, what's it doing? Doing some sort of graphic thing there. Our old S-classes, like, you know, especially the one that came out like I believe in 89 or 90 to replace the one that I always call it the Bobby, you know, from Dallas SL. But
how can I help?
Oh God, she's talking to me. No, you don't need to help. Stop it. How do I turn you off?
You have not.
Oh, stop.
What is your destination?
We're not going anywhere. Okay. That was interesting. So that was just a fun little like tech thing that you just have to get used to. I guess actually like all those like little stars up there is like when the voice activation thing is activated. But, you know, little things, like I just think it's like, it's a really, you know, it's fun because it's designed. You know, I think that's like why I like this interior, and it's not just thrown together. It's not just functional, but there's actually some design and drama to it, which I definitely do appreciate, especially, you know, if you are going to be a premium automaker, US, American domestic cars, please take a note. Cadillac, in particular. Lincoln, I'll say they'd put a little bit of design into like their trucks. So like a Navigator, for example. There's some design going on there, but this is not bad. So excited to get this on the road. And after having on the road for this little trip tomorrow, we'll do another review to see what my initial, after my first impressions, but you know, if this is something that I think would be, you know, worthwhile, you know, the pros, cons of it, and yeah, not bad so far. Oh, one little other detail I noticed is that, you know, I do appreciate even that. It's like even there on the A-pillar, you know, instead of just being, you know, some sort of like plastic or something, they do wrap it in a fabric. Wow, be it like you can see, I don't know if you can see in the video as well, there's some sticker up there from Avis, but there's some staining going on it. But again, it's those nicer little luxury touches that you do expect when you are paying for things like this, or even just, you know, when you're looking at a luxury vehicle, like, you know, you expect some of these little details, even like the ambient lighting, you know, going around, you know, that overhead console there. It's just, I can see like why, like with Mercedes people, you know, they're still considered to be like, you know, the benchmark. So anyway, we'll go ahead and wrap up this quick little section now, and we will see you tomorrow after we do a few miles in it and give that full, you know, that fuller review. See you tomorrow.